sure whether, why is the, oh, there we go. Now the mic is working. We have storms that we were promised here. Now, something I want to show you very quickly is that we have this outflow boundary here. And that, if you're behind that outflow boundary, your chances of severe weather are dropping. They're not gone, but they're dropping because that's bringing cooler air in. But we do have these storms, and if you looked at the weather models yesterday that we were sharing, this looks very familiar to what we saw. A line of storms to the west kind of blowing northeastward. Now, this outflow boundary, this cooler air, may kind of play havoc with this. But something I want to bring your attention to is this storm in Johnson County. We're seeing a couple of things here. First, I've been watching some increasing winds right around Cleburne. Looks like we could have a downburst or a microburst going on there. And so if there is a stronger wind gust going on there right now in your area there in in Cleburne, I'm going to be doing that all day. In the Cleburne area, that is why that you have a downburst or microburst happening there. It doesn't at this point look like anything catastrophic or anything like that. But if you are getting increasing winds there in that area, that would be why. We're watching these storms, and I do want to go over to the velocity view here. Now, any of you storm chaser watchers, for one, here's that area maybe on the north side of Cleburne where we are looking at what, again, could be a downburst there. You notice that there's winds that are kind of going two different directions, and we saw that kind of light up on the radar. So increased winds there, but we've been watching the southern end of that storm for the possibility of maybe some rotation there. And then there's also a storm west of Whitney. We've been watching the winds on that too. So these storms have a decent potential today to rotate. At this time, there hasn't been any tornado warnings or anything like that. What I was going to say is if you tend to watch storm chasers, I know that there's one headed down to Hill County. I think there's a few that are stationed in Hillsborough. He's been talking a lot about tornado warnings on these storms. We don't have any tornado warnings. I don't really even see any kind of specific areas of rotation that I would be too concerned with. I'm watching that storm west of Whitney right now. We did have some rotation that we were watching with this storm near Cleburne, but it looks like maybe it's having some trouble getting organized. I think part of that may be this boundary that continues to move southward is kind of disrupting that, kind of preventing it from getting too organized right now. So again, you can see the outflow boundaries very well. Looks like maybe there's a couple of them here. One just went through the studio. It's pretty dark and breezy here right now with a northeast wind. And then another one here moving through Ellis and Johnson and Northern Hill counties. So that's kind of been the variable. And of course, we have the rain that has moved into most of our area. If we put this into motion, you can see all of it kind of moving southward, although this has, for the most part, stalled out here. The outflow continues to move southward, but the rain is slowing down. But you can see that that has overtaken this storm in Johnson County. I think that pretty well prevented that from getting too intense, but we're still watching the storm west of Whitney. We're getting a nice little hook on the end of that, so we will have to watch that storm. There's a flash flood warning in effect right now. This is essentially the same exact shape as the last time there was storms going through, where we had a severe thunderstorm warning for Johnson, not quite yet, but a flash flood warning for Johnson, Hood, and Somervell counties. I mean, it's the same shape. And that one goes until 3:45 p.m. Now, again, you may be looking at that going, that's like 3 hours from now. Does that mean it's going to be raining in 3 hours? Not necessarily. When they issue a flood watch, I mean, we had the flood watch that includes Ellis and Navarro counties until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Again, doesn't mean it's going to be raining all that time, but any of those flood alerts are going to allow for time for runoff to do its thing, to settle, and then flood waters to kind of subside. So you have to understand that it's more than just the rain itself. You have to take in other factors when you're trying to decide, hey, how long is this warning actually going to last? So that is the situation we're looking at. So Nicole Hoffman on Facebook saying the mic is out on YouTube. I've heard back and forth. I've heard a few people on YouTube that earlier streams said they couldn't hear anything, but there were people on the same stream that said they could. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Edgar Gomez, Heritage Air, giving a couple of plugs today to Heritage Air, doing a great job at his house. So, appreciate the good word there. Thank you so much for the positive feedback. Um, so Nicole's saying it's working now. It's out. So I don't know if YouTube might be having some issues today or what the deal is. Obviously, YouTube was chaotic last night, but that shouldn't factor into it. So yeah, not really sure what is going on there. Um, but so we're watching a couple of things. First is all the rain to the north. Eventually, this will be making its way in. So that will be something to watch for sure. And that will be the flood risk. As I mentioned, flash flood warning for Johnson, Hood, and Somervell counties. And then back down into Hill County here, we are watching this storm near Whitney. And yes, we do have that little bit of a hook there. And smaller storm just south of Whitney there too. So that's what we are seeing as far as the storms right now. It's all rain in Johnson County right now. I don't think that we see anything as far as, not really seeing anything hail-wise across our area. This is the vertically integrated liquid. This would tell us if there was, hail that we have to be worried about. Not really seeing that at this point, but we are seeing, again, we saw some increased winds, maybe a little bit of a downburst. Didn't look like anything major there in northern parts of Cleburne. Maybe some heavier winds south of there. We have been watching this area for possibly some rotation, but looks like it's really had some trouble getting organized. And then we will be watching that storm west of Whitney to see if there will be any rotation there. Amy Lynn, I really heavily doubt you hear tornado sirens in Midlothian. I think you're hearing something else there. Now, Michael, the mic volume is much quieter than the intro music. And that's been something that I've been trying to figure out, because on my meter here, on the little indicator, says that the mic is almost maxed out. But I know what you're hearing is a lot quieter. So that's something I'm still kind of trying to figure out on your side. Andrew Watson asking, how are we looking for Midlothian Waxahachie severe threat now that the boundary has pushed through? So yes, I mean, it's... once the boundary moves through, your threat of severe weather goes down quite a bit, just by virtue of having cool north winds blowing through. I would say if you're if you're behind that boundary, you got those cool north winds going. Yeah, I don't think. Okay. So hang on, let me catch up on. There's a lot of interesting things getting put in the chat here. No tornado warnings in Kaufman. There haven't been any tornado warnings in Kaufman. So not sure you're referring to there. Jamie Law had said the severe storm sirens in Midlothian went on earlier, not tornado sirens as of now. There's not actually a difference there. The outdoor warning sirens are one unified system, and I doubt they're going on there unless, there's some kind of malfunction or something. So not sure what that might be. Somebody mentioned that there's lightning detectors at the parks and that kind of thing too. So I guess that's possible as well. So anywhere that I heard that, in NS, you're getting the outflow boundary. So that's going to be that outflow moving through. That's not a storm, but you will get winds picking up some darker clouds as that outflow boundary moves in. And again, that kind of reduces your chance of getting severe weather for that area. Carranza, yes, they had a watch. So I think you were mixed up between warning and watch. There is a tornado watch east of our area, but not a warning at this point. And there is a cat breaking down the door, so there you go. Just stay out of the way. Felt like it dropped 10 degrees in 20 minutes. Yeah, so the cool outflow is making its way southward, and that is part of what kind of helped to disrupt that Johnson County storm that we were watching. And then, that outflow boundary will continue to move farther to the south. Going to move that over, and we'll put this back into motion here. So we have our 2 rounds of storms here, but I want to show you, I had a lot of people that were hung up on last night and were just completely thrown off that it wasn't exactly what I said. So here's what changed here is we have really what was going to be round two has kind of gotten here ahead of schedule. Okay, it's moved in already, and that is the more widespread complex. We do still have our storms. This was what we were watching in terms of our first round of storms yesterday between 12 and 1. Still happen there, but it's going to be farther south because we've had this rain move in. So now going to be western Hill County, possibly western parts of Navarro County eventually, but it's a smaller window here. So as this continues on, it's going to continue to move south and kind of cut off the severe weather threat for some of these areas. Now, I can't guarantee this is going to go all the way south. Eventually, it'll run out of steam. But for the moment, all of those areas that are behind that rain-cooled air, which is what's pushing that outflow boundary out, your chance of severe weather drops quite a bit because you're not as warm. So the window for severe weather has gotten smaller, and I think that's why we might have some storm chasers that are scrambling out there to try to get what they can get before that happens. Ryan said you have your weather call for home, but you're in Dallas and haven't gotten any calls yet about the storm being severe warned. No severe thunderstorm warnings in Dallas right now, so that's why you haven't gotten a call. No warning. So no severe warnings in the Dallas area. There have been north of there, Denton, McKinney, that area, but no severe thunderstorm warnings in Dallas that I remember here. So that's why I say if you don't get a call, no news is good news in that case. Would you be able to post the link for your first alert system? So it's weather call. We can definitely post that link. Matt, I don't know if you have that, but you can definitely put that out there and get that to where you can see that. Somebody asking, will Navarro County east probably get severe storms coming up from the west south of Hillsborough? It's unclear at this point. We're going to have to continue to monitor this. It all, again, depends on if this cooler air can get there faster than these storms, which right now it looks fairly likely. Now, the storms that you would be watching in Navarro County, probably going to be farther south in the Waco area, just by virtue of where they're going. So it looks to me, I mean, this thing is moving at a pretty good clip. I think somebody estimated 50 or so miles per hour. So this thing's moving pretty fast. So I would guess, I mean, there's a pretty good chance that the cooler air is going to kind of choke off that severe weather chance there. So by virtue of that line coming through earlier, that is going to help to kind of dampen that severe weather threat. Now, with that said, our concern then switches from a risk of supercells, which is what we're kind of looking at right now. That's changing over now to flood concerns, because you can see there's so much flooding rain going on. And something somebody pointed out earlier, you notice that it looks like this is all moving northward, but everything's moving southward. What's happening there is warm air is riding over the cool air, and that is where you're getting all of this rain. That's what's feeding all this rain here. So it's bringing the moisture in, right, over the cooler air, but that makes it elevated. So there's not surface-based storms that are needed to create tornadoes and that kind of thing. So that's what's happening here. That's what you're seeing across this area. As the cooler air sinks southward, that warm air is riding above it, and that's what's creating those showers and thunderstorms that are not at this time severe. We don't have any severe weather, and this storm in Hill County, the one where we've been looking at that little hook, that's starting to meet up with that outflow boundary. So pretty soon, that will then become the lower part of that storm will kind of get cut off by cold air, and then it'll just be the warm air riding above it, creating those showers and thunderstorms, but it will be plenty of rain. You've already had lots of heavy rain right there in Johnson County, so that flash flood warning will continue now for a while as more heavy rain drops. And we just started the rain here at the studio, so we'll see how quickly the rain gauge begins to fill that up to kind of get an idea of our rain rates there. Let's see. Nikki, what alerts, if any, for Cleburne? Pretty dark and windy. Yeah, so we were talking about some of those winds that increased earlier with a possible downburst. And then right now, no severe warnings at this time. It's not a severe thunderstorm, but we do have a flash flood warning in effect there. And that is until 3:45. It was crazy around Grapevine around 11 a.m. Yeah, so north of our area, they had their fair share this morning of severe storms, and those were definitely severe warned storms, no question there. And then, yeah, finally getting the heavy rain in Venus. So that's the thing. All of this is moving southward. And again, the good news is that a lot of this moved in earlier in the day, spread out lots of rain-cooled air, and so that has helped to stabilize the atmosphere for the most part across the area. And that cooler air now going ahead of it is going to cut off any inflow that might help these become strong storms. It's advancing that cooler air farther ahead. So it's helping that out. Now, I'm hearing Mary Camarillo saying tornado sirens going off in Italy right now. Haven't heard anything to that effect. There's no severe weather in Italy at this moment, so nothing to worry about there. Not anything you have to be concerned about. Yeah, you're hearing flooding in the Dallas area. There's a flash flood warning, really a couple of them. You can see one here and then one over towards the Irving area there. So several severe, or rather flash flood warnings kind of all linked together up in the Metroplex right now. Lots of flooding issues up in that area right now. And I mean, all those urban areas, sometimes the drainage is just not able to keep up with these kind of events. May not always be as intense there as we get into the more rural areas. Sometimes there's more natural drainage that kind of helps take care of that. So drive to Midlothian from Mansfield was rough, lots of heavy rain. Yeah, absolutely. Turn around, don't drown. Ryan, yeah, great reminder there. Listen, we love our trucks in Texas. We get very, very confident on the road. The thing is, though, if you don't know how deep that water goes and you're not 100% confident, intelligently confident, okay? If you're not intelligently confident that you can get through that water safely, turn around, don't drown. Because those waters can really make things crazy. So yeah, temperatures dropping in NS, and you can see again, as this outflow boundary is going forward, let's jump over to Ellis County here. And that's one of the things I was watching for, is to see if this outflow boundary was going to possibly, blow up some new storms. So we got into this new little cell here near Waxahachie between there and Ennis. So that will probably just become a part of this complex and just bring more, heavy rain. Okay. All right. Getting lots of messages, so just making sure I'm not missing anything important there. Very loud thunder here in Burleson, shaking the house and making the lights flicker. Yeah, so that's the thing, is these are loud storms without a doubt. So right across Johnson County, you can see all of that lightning there. And then south of there, we'll take another look at this storm near Whitney over in Hill County. We've been watching the possibility of some rotation there. I see some winds there, but I'm not seeing anything that has me immediately concerned. We're a little farther away from the radar, but I'm not seeing anything that has me particularly worried at this time. So I think we're okay in that area. Definitely a stronger storm. There's definitely some stronger winds there, but it won't be long before this is overtaken by that cooler air. So odds are that's probably going to help to kind of cut that off. So at this point, I had a question that came up earlier and I think it got buried. Let me go back and see if I can answer that. Kyle Roberts, you're planning to go to the Rangers game tonight. Should you be concerned for bad weather on the way there or back? Not really. I mean, the most severe weather is probably going to be this afternoon. It really just depends on, how long we can, keep the... I mean, really, realistically, if you're going north, I wouldn't be worried about severe weather at all. Now, flooding, it might cause some problems. If you're traveling up 360 or over on 20, pay attention to your traffic reports. KRLD will do a great job of keeping you updated about that up there. I'm trying to adjust this a little bit because I don't want to be too tall. Okay, so let's see. Anything crazy happening in the next few hours? Just raining and thunder. So, yeah. So I mean, Nothing, I mean, the main issue is going to be the possibility of flooding in certain places because this is going to be heavy rain that's moving through our area and will be, kind of taking its time. Now, if we look more broadly at the line as it's going, so it's slowly but surely making its way southward, and the heavy rain is just going to continue to go there. Now near Brownwood, we do have a special weather statement there. Let's see what that's for. Gusty winds and pea-sized hail. So it could be some stronger storms out near Brownwood. We'll have to see what that does as that tries to move northeastward. But for the most part, across our area, I mean, the atmosphere is getting pretty well stabilized by the outflow and by the rain that's falling. So the severe weather threat, I'd say, for at least the northern half of our area, not very significant at this point. So I don't expect severe weather, but the flooding we will have to kind of keep an eye on. And the question earlier was how long will this line of storms be around? I think the best answer for that, to be honest with you, is that I would expect this to be around, what are we getting closer to 1 o'clock? Yeah, so about 1 o'clock, I would expect this to be around till at least maybe 3 or 4 o'clock. That's my rough guess. And then it looks like this could be moving out of here by 6, 7, 8 o'clock. So, I mean, the earlier it gets here, obviously the earlier it's going to leave. So that's the helpful piece of information there. That's the nice part. Yeah, lots of gusty winds happening here at the studio and almost 1/10 of an inch of rain so far. Let's see. Okay, curious on tornado likelihood for Ellis County. Yeah, I mean, pretty unlikely at this point because Ellis County, again, the atmosphere is largely stabilized by this cooler air. So we don't have the ability, at least from what I can tell. There's a weather call sign up. Thank you so much for that. It doesn't look like in Ellis County right now we're going to have the atmosphere for surface-based storms. I think everything is pretty much going to be elevated at this point because of that cool air that moved through. And that's kind of what we're looking at right now. So again, where that cooler air has moved through, where that has advanced, your rain chances, or your severe weather chances at least, are a little bit lower. Now, we're still warming up. I mean, we still have some warming to go. But I mean, here at the studio, it's 62 degrees right now. So we have already cooled significantly here. Temperatures in the 60s aren't going to make a whole lot of severe weather happen at this point. Now, flooding is part of severe weather. So when I say severe weather, I primarily am talking about large hail damaging winds, tornadoes, those kind of things. So the chance of that is lowering significantly, at least in our northern counties. Navarro County, not too sure how much farther that cool air is going to advance there. You can see it's still going. Still making its way, and you can see over in Johnson County here, Northern Hill County, it continues to make its way. Now, you're probably looking north of Whitney going, hey, what's that tomfoolery there? I'm not seeing that as rotation right at the moment. And Georgina Rodriguez, no tornadoes in Red Oak. Not sure if you heard a rumor or something, but that's not happening. So it looks like that alpha boundary might be weakening a little bit. And if that happens, if that quits, then that will also take away the ability to kind of discount that severe weather risk. So we'll have to see how far that goes. If it can't make it into Navarro County, then Navarro County may still have to be concerned about some severe weather later today, but we'll continue to monitor that here. But here west of Hillsboro, I mean, we're seeing some greens and reds and things, but a lot of that, again, is this outflow moving through, meeting up with some of the stronger winds there. But that honestly it's probably just too chaotic for any kind of rotation to really get organized there. So I think that's primarily what we're looking at here. So we'll put this back into motion, and just a reminder that right now we do not have any severe thunderstorm warnings. We don't have any tornado warnings right now. The severe weather risk continues for parts of our area. I would say primarily parts of Hill and Navarro County at this point. Still could see some severe weather later today. but at the moment, not really seeing it. We've had so much cool air kind of stabilize the atmosphere, at least in Ellis and Johnson counties here, to where the severe threat has dropped significantly behind it. And then ahead of it, that's where we will be watching for the possibility of some severe weather at some point. But this kind of first round pretty well got taken down by that cooler air. So we haven't really seen any kind of threat of tornadoes for that particular area. And then, okay, well, we've got a tornado warning here, so I guess the National Weather Service is seeing that persist. Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. So we did manage to get that rotation going there. That was pretty quick too. So if we look back a couple of frames, let's see if I can get that to work with me here. So here's what we were watching. They could see this increased winds, and then yeah, right there. So it was almost a couple of frames there that it came together. So we have a tornado warning in northern Hill County here. So that includes Covington, Itasca, northern Hillsborough, Carl's Corner. So that's where we're seeing this. And this is, again, kind of, let's see if we can get a better idea. I think part of that is the outflow boundary. So this may be a briefly lived tornado warning here. The good news is that there's more convection here, so sometimes that's going to help to kind of choke that off. So this may be a brief event, but there is a tornado warning in place here. So it looked like maybe it wasn't going to get organized, but it looks like it very quickly came together there. And then again, I have a feeling this may be short-lived. So this tornado warning goes until 1:45. So, I mean, they have that for another 45 minutes here. So we'll see what this does. But I know that this storm, again, it's kind of caught up in some more convection there. And so we'll keep an eye on that for sure. Let's get the velocity view back up here. So this is where we see the rotation. And up to this point, it has had trouble getting anything organized. But I think we might have just had some of the outflow winds maybe kind of push a little bit on this and just hit it just right to kind of get that organized. So this is your rotation. This is west of Hillsborough, south of Covington. This is your area of circulation. And so again, as we show you, this was the last couple of frames, and this is what we had here. So we had the increased winds. Here comes the, what looks like, that's the outflow coming in, and then I think that it managed to just kind of hit just right to where that rotation was able to tighten up. And you can definitely see the outflow as well as the inflow here and kind of that increase in wind speed. So that tornado warning continues through 1:45 p.m. So that is your area of circulation. At this point, I don't, yeah, that's radar indicated. So we don't have observation at this point of a tornado on the ground, but it could possibly be forming in that area. I don't see it there either. So I'm not seeing any kind of a, I'm not seeing any kind of debris indication or anything like that, debris signature or anything like that. So that's our little hook gecko. And obviously you can see there's a lot of rain in that area. So we'll see if that's able to kind of cut it off. But that is where we have that little area of rotation, obviously west of Hillsborough. You're probably looking at that little hook too. So we'll see what this does. There's a lot of shear in the atmosphere, right? So that's what we have to watch. Yeah, here we go. Here's that very clear couplet. So looks like it came together very quickly. And Matt, I'm sure you're watching that too. But here's our little couplet here. And sorry, Matt, what was that? Okay, so we've got some visual on that storm right now to hopefully get some confirmation of what they're looking at. So west of Hillsborough, here's another area where there could be some rotation trying to form there, but I'm having trouble seeing that as much of a threat. But northwest of Hillsborough, south of Covington, this is where we have most of the concerns for that. So let me see if I can even pull something up here. I'm gonna, sorry folks, I'm gonna try to find, um, try to get a visual on things. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to see that. Okay, so yes, so tornado watch. Just heard something about a tornado watch in Italy. So have they expanded that tornado watch, Matt? Have they expanded that? I mean, I would imagine at this point they probably have. Okay, so yeah, I just saw here they updated the tornado watch until, well, it's 1 o'clock UTC. That is what, 8 p.m.? No, is that 9 p.m.? Let's see here. It's always tough to do that. So the tornado watch, okay, yeah, so 8 p.m. So the tornado watch was expanded to include this area until 8 p.m. A couple of things I want to bring your attention to is that number one, the rotation there already looks like maybe it's starting to subside a little bit. So I'm willing to bet that was a very brief spin up there. We'll have to watch these winds near Hillsborough. Very strong winds in the Hillsborough area. So we've got to keep an eye on that too. This tornado warning goes until 1:45, but I think if we are seeing this rotation already starting to weaken, I think this might have been just a very quick spin up when a couple of things came together. But I think that we're probably going to see that trend downward. So if we look at the last few frames there, you can see the winds pick up. Right there is when we start to kind of wrap that up. That's where you start to see probably the peak of that circulation. And then right there, that next frame definitely looks like it's not as intense at this point. So I'm trying to follow some comments here. Do you think the rotation is going towards Maypearl? At this point, it's pretty far south of Maypearl, so I'm not concerned about the Maypearl area. The wind's picking up in Penelope. That's going to be probably that outflow, those cooler air pushing out of there, so I'm not too concerned about that. Yeah, so a tornado watch was expanded. Let me look at the map on that. So the tornado watch includes Ellis Hill and Navarro County, so that's going to be until 8 p.m. tonight. I don't think it's going to last until 8 p.m. tonight. I think they'll shave that off south and east as this whole thing goes. So I don't think all of our area will be under that watch until 8 o'clock. But again, tornado watch including Ellis, Navarro, and Hill counties until 8 p.m. That was expanded here just a few minutes ago. I imagine in response to this tornado warning. So I've been waiting and wondering if they were going to expand that, and sure enough, they definitely have. So this was the storm we were watching for where we had the rotation. And it looks like that has already started to maybe subside there a little bit. Not seeing the wind speeds that we saw just a moment ago, but we are seeing stronger winds near Hillsborough. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Let's go back to our velocity view here. Yeah, it looks to me like at least where we had that little hook before. We'll go back and look. And yeah, it looks like that hook pretty well got swallowed up. We'll have to watch this other one here just north of Hillsborough. Some stronger winds there. That could turn into something here just momentarily. That doesn't have quite as much there to kind of choke it off. But it does look like, yeah, so they've kind of peeled that back. But it does look like we may have to watch that just north of Hillsborough. Okay, there's lots of confusion. Lots of confusion in the chat. So just if you'll follow what I'm telling you, then we'll be good to go. But this is the tornado warning here in northern Hill County. So here's Hillsborough, Carl's Corner, Itasca, and Covington. So this is where we had that tornado warning in effect for another 35 minutes here. I have a. You know what, let me just adjust something if you'll just allow me a moment. Oh, okay, didn't need to make that noise, but I have a little clock here that I set aside, and I really needed to, I need that there. I don't have a clock anywhere else, I realize that. No sirens going off in Waxahachie right now. So This storm is going to be moving northeast. So we'll continue to monitor this. I mean, this is the rotation right now is going to be moving pretty much in between Itasca and Carl's Corner at this point. And somebody mentioned there's two areas of circulation. One that they would be watching is that first area of circulation, and we could be looking at a second right in front of it. That earlier area of rotation at this point is kind of getting choked off, so I'm less concerned about that, but we could have another north of Hillsborough there, really going right across. That's going to be right across 35. So I want to see if we can look at, let's see if we can look at some TxDOT cameras down there, if we're going to get any kind of visual there. Let's get back to the velocity view while we wait. And definitely increased wind speeds north of Hillsborough, where we were seeing that little, that's going to have to load, I guess, where we were seeing that little hook. So right in here, could be looking at more of that rotation. So I'm trying to get some cameras. Surely there's not, okay. I think TxDOT's website is freaking out on me. Okay, that is not helpful at all. Usually have great luck with that website, but man, it is. Okay, let's see here. Trying to get some TxDOT pictures along 35. See if I can get an image on anything. Not really, not a whole lot of luck. Let me look. Yeah, that's looking north. Okay, not a whole lot of luck there. But the two areas of rotation, there was one farther west. It looks like that has pretty well subsided at this point. And then towards Carl's Corner, where another area possibly of some rotation, where, again, in northern Hill County, this is where we see the tornado warning right now that continues to be in effect. But north of Hillsborough, this is going to be where we might be looking at some new rotation here. And there's no tornado warning for Ennis. Rosemary Garcia, you didn't get a tornado warning for Ennis. It's a watch. Megan Smith, what service are you waiting for to find out if there's what service are you using to find out if there's a tornado warning in Hill County? And also, what part of Hill County are you in? Because if you're not in the part of Hill County that was in the tornado warning, you're not going to get a notification. So they're not county-wide anymore. They haven't done that since 2008. So at this point, it is all going to be, at this point, it's all, just in that specific part of that county. So, courtesy shows that all warnings are issued by the National Weather Service. Other people just kind of share it. So that's how that goes. Trying to keep up with some things here. There's a lot of confusion in the comment section, so I'm going to try to get rid of what confusion I can. So tornado warning for Navarro. We're doing frost. So no tornado warnings in Navarro. Folks, we really got to clarify this. There's a tornado watch across our area, right, until 8 o'clock. That's a watch. The only tornado warning we have right now is in northern Hill County. This, where you see this blinking polygon here, that is the only tornado warning right now. The rest of us, Ellis, Hill, Navarro counties, are under a tornado watch. Big, big, big difference. Well, a tornado watch means that conditions could create a tornado situation, could create storms capable of tornadoes at some point. The difference is that a warning means that it is happening now or it's imminent. A watch means it's possible from any storms that develop. That's the big difference there. So Matt, if you want to help me out in the chat there, that's the big, big, big difference here. So I know there's a lot of people looking for a path of where this thing is going to go. If you'll give me just a moment here, I'm trying to make sure we're at least clear on the fundamentals here. Yeah, people are saying that they're receiving multiple warnings and things. You may be signed up for multiple services, but there's only one warning here. So let me kind of broaden out here. I know there's a lot of people jumping in. So this tornado warning, this tornado warned storm, the area we're watching is right here. So that's going to be headed, as it's now in northern Hill County, going to be heading towards the Italy area, could be moving towards southern parts of Waxahachie. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. Now, the other thing to remember is this is going to be moving into rain-cooled air here fairly soon. We had that outflow boundary moving out. So as this moves through, Araceli, yes, you're in the warning right now, so you do need to shelter in Carl's Corner. If you are included in that warning, you do need to take shelter. So plenty of heavy rain in Ellis County, but the thing is that this is rain-cooled air. So in all likelihood, that's probably going to help to kind of shut down this possible rotation here. But the tornado warned part of this storm will be moving into Ellis County here in the next several minutes towards the Italy area. So if you're in the Italy area, you're not in a tornado warning right now, but we will be monitoring that for you. So Katie Martin, the popular, taco comparison, we don't have a taco right now. The ingredients are in place. No confirmation of a tornado at this point from this storm. We've not received any kind of ground truth or anything like that. So at this point, though, we have had a history of rotation with that storm. So let's get back to our velocity view, kind of get an idea of what we're seeing here. Honestly, from what I'm seeing, I don't see a lot of rotation, except for where it's going to move, east northeast here. So we'll look at the velocity. Yeah, so I mean, we're looking at increasing winds here. If anything, these are probably straight line winds that are beginning to pick up here. Now, that's not to say that we can't have rotation with those, but it's looking like this may be more of a straight line wind issue, eventually moving towards Milford and Italy. So we'll continue to monitor this as we go forward, but for right now, okay, just checking the phone to make sure I'm not ignoring anything important there. But these are probably straight line winds here at this point. So this is northern Hill County, southern Ellis County. This is what we're watching right now. Very heavy rain falling here at the studio right now. Obviously, we're quite a bit farther north. But the good news is that, again, the rotation here, to me, looks fairly limited. We'll look at a couple of things. That's that first area of rotation that prompted the warning. This was the other one near Hillsborough we were looking at. But now that that is moving northward, we're seeing more probably of a straight line wind threat, I think, at this moment. There's a limitation here, I think, of rotation, again, for two reasons. One, there's rain-cooled air that continues to kind of surge southward. But there are stronger winds headed towards the Milford-Italy area. If you're in Milford and Italy right now, you're not in a tornado warning at this moment. But that could be expanded eastward as this continues to move through if the National Weather Service believes that rotation is still an imminent threat. That's what we're looking at here. We're not looking at a specified central area of definite rotation. At this point, it's a little more broad. It's a little more abstract here. So that's the good news. It's not as organized as it was, but we will continue to monitor that very closely because the atmosphere is definitely primed for this kind of weather. We've been talking about that the last several days. Good news was we kind of tightened the window for the possibility of this weather, but that doesn't mean that it's not possible there. So let's get back to our reflectivity view here. And so right here, you can kind of see that bow shape. This is where we see some of those stronger winds beginning to come together, and that could be where we see those strong straight line winds move towards the Milford area, moving towards I-35E. Now, again, I'm not seeing an imminent threat of rotation at this moment, but with those winds, sometimes these stronger winds can quickly lead to some rotation, especially with so much shear in the air, in the atmosphere there. So we'll watch this. We'll continue to monitor it, and we'll make sure that we bring you any information that we need. Of course, we have Weather Call here, and Weather Call will inform you immediately if there is a tornado warning. I mean, I've gotten it very, very quickly. I've demonstrated it here on the channel. It's a great resource to have. You get a phone call from my voice saying, hey, there's a tornado warning. Hey, there's a severe thunderstorm warning. It's even going to tell you if it's an observed tornado. It's going to tell you if there's an extreme severe thunderstorm warning with extremely large hail or extreme winds, that kind of thing. So it's a great service to sign up for. Just $15 a year. It's not not too great a price to pay for that kind of peace of mind. So this is the part of the storm that we've been worried about. We have this this severe thunderstorm, or this. I guess we could call it this part of the storm. I guess we could say where we've seen the history of the rotation, but we've kind of seen it get less organized over the past several minutes here. And people are asking, is it safer to go? Is it safer to get out in the car? I mean, I never recommend getting out in your car in a storm like this, because the fact of the matter is, on the road you're very much not safe. So this is the part of the storm that we've been watching. This is where we've had a history of rotation. At this point, not seeing anything that immediately makes me point at it's right there, but this area could definitely have the potential for more rotation as it continues to move eastward. So if you're in the Milford area right now, Milford up to Italy, you're not in the severe thunderstorm, or the tornado warning at this time, but you very well could be if we manage to get more rotation that forms in this storm. And just trying to kind of follow some comments here. Okay, so the National Weather Service continues that tornado warning. Doesn't look like they're ready to give that up yet. But this is the part of the storm where we've seen that rotation. Again, it's right at this moment. I'm not seeing any one spot that shows me where there's not any one spot that looks like it's rotating at this moment to me. So we will continue to watch this. That warning continues until 1:45. I mean, this is going to be out of that warning before that point. So we'll have to see if they issue a downstream warning at this point. Right now, for the most part, looks like it's just Northern Hill County that they have that warning continuing here. I think that warning is in place because it very quickly circulated before. They want to have that in place in case that happens again. So that's probably kind of the justification for that right now, keeping that in place, even if there's not necessarily a very specific area of rotation going on right now. 122 right now, that tornado warning continues through 145. Again, this will move out of there prior to that point, but once we so here's another update. So it is moving towards the Milford area, but that does not, to me, look immediately, organized. I'm sure they will probably cancel that warning fairly soon, and then decide whether they're going to, whether they're going to continue, a new warning downstream, or they're probably going to leave it alone. I would guess, my guess is they're probably going to leave it alone. I don't imagine that they're going to be paying too much attention to where the rotation just does not look organized at this point. So I'm waiting for an update here on the velocity so we can get an idea of what the winds look like. Yeah, looks like more possibly straight line winds, but I'm not seeing rotation that has me immediately concerned for the Milford area. So that's where this is headed now. This is the part of the storm where there was rotation that justified that tornado warning. I don't see that at this point. So let's just get back to the reflectivity here. So at this point, it looks to me like the part of this storm that was rotating kind of getting disorganized now. But as you can see, there's more storms popping up here. And as you can see, there's more with little curvatures. There's plenty of rotation out there. There's plenty of wind shear, if we zoom this out a little more, to help these storms continue to circulate. So that's where things kind of stand. Kevin Morrow, finally a real weatherman, not a gamer weatherman. Well, that's what I try to do, right? That's what I try to accomplish. Is I don't want to be, I don't want to make weather entertainment. Weather's about information, so I try to be a little bit different in that regard. Um, and there goes the Amazon truck. there, bless that guy's heart. We're over half an inch of rain here already, and Amazon's still out there working. But right now, if we, I don't know if we can tell at this point, if we take a broader view. So it looks to me at this point, just a couple of things I want to mention, looks to me like that outflow boundary has pretty well fallen apart. So that has slowed that rain-cooled air that was stabilizing the air. So now, for the southern half of our area, could very well be looking at a continuing threat of severe weather. And then where we are now, again, moving towards 35 east at least, we do have some stronger winds. So could be looking at some stronger, at this point looks like straight line winds. I don't see rotation at the moment, but could be some straight line winds through the area at this point. Let me see if I can make one quick adjustment. Okay. All right. So I suspect that tornado warning will be canceled very soon. I don't imagine that they're going to let that run the next 20 minutes. I would be very, very shocked. So here's kind of the broader view. Now that we can kind of, there it goes. Thank you. There goes the tornado warning. They've canceled that now. That threat has passed. This storm continues to move to the east here. And at this point, I mean, this has really been the biggest threat we've had so far. And at that point, it was pretty short-lived because it just could not stay organized with so much convection going on around it. So that's the plus here. We have a lot of this popping up, and the so Ryan Wagner, FYI on the weather call, it took 16 minutes to get notified of the watch going into effect in Ellis County. So what I'll tell you is I've noticed the watches take a little longer. And that's an email or a text. But the phone calls for warnings, man, it's quick. I mean, I've shown it multiple times on this stream. Very, very, very fast. So that's the good news. For these less emergent things that are a text or an email, they do tend to take a little longer, but man, the warnings are lightning fast. Very, very fast. Looking at the questions here. So, Jamie, is this the worst of it passing? Then we just have little random storms after. So, I mean, that's the thing is, you know, it looks like after the initial line, we could, again, be dealing with more kind of here and there showers and thunderstorms as we get into the afternoon and evening hours. So that's what we're watching at this moment is, you know, there's going to be plenty of rain here, plenty of heavy rain moving through, now moving into Ellis County here. But behind the heaviest stuff, yeah, we'll have just kind of some off and on showers and thunderstorms to go from there. And, okay, some back and forth. Yeah, so, and hearing it's dark in Milford, working in Italy next to the police department, and they just came and told me there's rotation headed this way. So the good news is there's a word about rotation in Italy. The good news is that rotation has become disorganized. So there was some rotation earlier in the Hillsborough area, but that has since become less organized. So I don't see any rotation in the Italy area at this point. And Nathan, I don't see an indication of a round of storms later tonight. I haven't looked at the models since we went on the air, but I don't think that a second round of storms is expected later tonight. The thing is that what was going to be the second round picked up speed. So we actually kind of got the two rounds kind of bumped up on each other, and that's kind of been our experience today. But I don't think any of the models have a later round of storms. From what I can see. Yeah, I don't see that. So I don't expect another round of storms at that point. Vicky, you're saying you got a message notification, but you didn't get any phone call, and you're smack dab in the middle of the tornado warning. So Vicky, just to make sure, are you in Northern Hill County where the tornado warning occurred, or are you in the watch? Because if you're in the tornado watch, then yes, that's just a text message or an email. So just have to make sure that we understand what's going on there. Trying to catch up to messages here. So K Page, the second round isn't canceled. The second round got here early. That's the difference. This line of storms was expected to move in later tonight, and it moved in quite a bit earlier. So the first round and second round are kind of simultaneously happening now. That's probably kind of the confusion. Okay, lots of messages coming in. I think we can cover most of this with just kind of a general overlook. So here's where we stand right now. Obviously, plenty of heavy rain out there. And then we did have a tornado warning earlier for Northern Hill County. That has since been canceled. There was a kind of a brief area of rotation there. And then as far as, so Vicky, if you were in the warning, if you'll send me a private message, we'll try to figure that out for you and get kind of better information about what might have happened there. So this is our complex of storms, and where we had cooler air moving through, that has made it to where the severe weather threat for parts of Johnson and Ellis County has dropped quite a bit. I think that's part of what helped to kind of squelch some of that rotation we had in Northern Hill County here. And then as that continues to kind of cruise southeastward, that is going to stabilize the air. The problem is Southern Hill County, parts of Navarro County haven't really seen any rain-cooled air quite yet at this point. So right now, the severe weather threat continues for those areas, but north of there, the severe weather threat has dropped significantly. We're at 60 degrees right now in Waxahachie, so where it's cooler, that makes a big difference, and that is going to help to kind of reduce that threat there. Billy, no reports of hail at this point, but I will tell you that we're almost to 3/4 of an inch of rain here at the studio already here. So quite a bit of rain falling in this storm. Flooding will, of course, be an issue. So really for your severe weather threat at this time, checking the camera there, for the severe weather threat at this point, it's going to be like these storms in Hill County. Those are the kind that we're going to have to watch. These farther down to the southwest, those are going to be the storms that may have a higher risk associated with them. And if you'll give me a moment here, Waxahachie ISD says they are watching the weather closely this afternoon. Do not see this impacting dismissal, but we'll keep you informed. So I'm sure a lot of the schools right now, I mean, it's 1:30, it's still early, but I know that there are, so yeah, I'm addressing schools now. So here's the thing, as far as something about rotation in Grandview. I haven't heard anything about rotation in Grandview, but Waxahachie ISD, I think, is probably saying what a lot of districts are thinking right now, that the closer we get to dismissal, they will continue to monitor how safe or not things are. And if we get into a case where it is safer to hold those kids during dismissal, maybe delay dismissal and hold on to those kids, they will do that. Unfortunately, I know today is STAR testing day. Some of those kiddos are probably distracted now. I know my son has been struggling with some testing recently, so I'm hoping he's not too distracted by this. Of course, I mean, weather's so routine around here anyway, I would think that by now he'd be fine with it. But the schools, I'm sure, will let you know. I would be surprised if any schools let out early. If anything, I think that there may be schools that delay release if there are strong storms going on or dangerous conditions as they're releasing. So just kind of keep that in mind. So again, I wouldn't expect storms to release early. If anything, I would expect, or schools rather, to release early. I would expect for them to, maybe hold those kids until conditions improve right around dismissal. The other thing too is that, okay, so I'm hearing there was a couple of school districts that may have taken shelter. So at this point, I don't see any kind of threat of rotation. Towards the Mertens area, this is where we've been looking at, Rebecca, like I said, I don't expect early release. If anything, they'll hold those kids through dismissal and release them when it's safe. So I'm not, it's not ice out there, folks. We're not looking at an early dismissal. If anything, it's going to be the other way around. It's going to be a delay probably. So now, here in the Mertens area, west of Frost, we're seeing some increased winds here. I'm not immediately seeing the kind of inbound-outbound game going on here, but this will be worth watching here. Let's kind of put this back on reflectivity, see what the actual storm looks like. Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a curvature there, so we'll have to watch this storm. Again, this is near Mertens. This is west of Frost. So this is going to be moving eastward. This is the storm that we have been watching. And so this is what we're seeing. So moving kind of east-northeast here. So towards Frost, Blooming Grove, possibly towards Bardwell eventually if it kind of takes more of a northerly track. So that's what we're paying attention to. Getting reports of some small hail in Maypearl there. But we will have to watch this near Mertens. We've seen how quickly this can circulate and wrap up. So this is going to be kind of the next area to watch. This storm has had a history of prompting tornado warnings. There's no warning right now, but this does have a history of producing that at least. And we will have to definitely keep an eye on that. Now, Devin, Katie, man, you're jumping right to it, aren't you? So his question is, so Bardwell might get a tornado. Again, this is just an area of rotation. I don't have confirmation of a tornado. There's not a tornado warning or anything with this. We're just monitoring this to see if rotation intensifies. So try not to jump too far ahead of me because I want to make sure that we're clear on things because I know how easily people can get scared when the wrong information is shared. So I want to try to keep it straightforward and keep it as far as what we know for sure is going on. So let's broaden this out just a little bit. Looks like we've had an update in that imagery. So yeah, it doesn't look too organized there. That's the good news. Near Frost there, it doesn't look like that area of where we've had rotation is too terribly organized at this time. Vanessa Marie, DFW scanner announced a tornado warning. You have to check the timestamp on that because that was earlier today. So there's no tornado warnings at this time. Lindsay, does the storm cells right now between the cold air and southeast counties getting this cold air as fast? I'm having trouble understanding your question. Paxton headed east to try to get visual on that storm. Yeah, Paxton, definitely keep me updated there. I appreciate your efforts. Yeah, so right now I'm not seeing any part of our area that has me immediately concerned about rotation. We'll be watching, south of Italy there, really southeast of Italy, and then south of Whitney could be a storm that's trying to get some circulation going, but there's not at this point, I'm not seeing an immediate threat of severe weather or rotation, tornadoes, those kind of things anywhere in our area. There's lots of lightning and thunder out there, lots of heavy rain. So unfortunately, yeah, I'm seeing little reports of power outages here and there. So unfortunately, that will be part of all of this as we go forward. So plenty of heavy rain here, but no severe weather at this point. Matt Grimes, Ellis County had a spotter, saw one 2 miles of Milford trying to form. Yeah, I mean, we had some rotation in that area, but it was having so much trouble getting organized that it didn't actually refer to anything. Burleson. So Burleson, I mean, Burleson's getting a lot of rain right now. Nothing severe in that area right now. So I wouldn't be too terribly concerned. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe transportation back from that field trip is delayed. So that might be part of what they're looking at. So I'll put this into motion here for you. So everything is moving kind of northeasterly here. And that cooler air that we've been watching, it may not be advancing much now. It looks like maybe we've lost some of that. Taylor, that's what I'm saying, is it doesn't look like it doesn't at this point look like that cooler air is advancing much more. So we probably kind of have our line here. Eventually, though, if we kind of zoom this farther back out, I think we will. I mean, we can still you can still kind of see a little bit of motion advancement of that cooler air, but I think overall what we're eventually going to see is we eventually will see cooling going on as we get more and more of this rain over the same areas. That will start to bring that temperature down. That will start to cool things down, to start to kind of stabilize the atmosphere, kind of take away the fuel, that kind of thing, as far as those storms are concerned. So yeah, multiple reports of pea-sized hail in parts of Maypearl. Taylor, once the front of the line hits, does that reduce the tornado threat? So yes and no. Just because you get a storm by itself does not reduce the tornado threat, but I would say again, a low-end tornado threat still exists for mostly parts of Hill and Navarro County, and parallel to that obviously. But for now, it's for the most part going to be those counties where the rain-cooled air hasn't quite taken over yet. And Ryan Lawhead Photography, so no storms tonight. So once we get, and Shalon, I see your question. I'll get to that here in just a second. No need to repeat it. I got you. Just hold on a second. Ryan, once this moved through, we should be done. So by the time we're getting ready to go to bed tonight, this will be history. This will be well south of us. Shalon, I don't see rotation forming near Italy right now. As far as Midlothian, I mean, in the Midlothian area, you're in the cooler air, so that's the good news. Not really much of a severe weather threat. Maybe some small hail, a lot of lightning and thunder there. It's going to be loud storm, but not much more than that. Okay, severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Ellis and Navarro counties. Looks like 60-mile-per-hour winds, and then hail 3/4 of an inch. So hail not quite to a severe limit, but looks like there's stronger winds. There's that warning. It was there for a second and went away. I'm not sure what was going on there. But here's the severe thunderstorm warning that's just been issued. So parts of Waxahachie, Palmer, down south into parts of far northern Navarro County. And thank you, Shannon, for your Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated there. So how do we sign up for those texts? That is Weather Call. We do have that link in the chat here, if we can post that real quickly. But Weather Call is the program. It's about $15 a month, or $15 a year rather. $15 a year, $1 or so a month. Not that much to pay for that kind of coverage. So definitely a positive benefit there. But we do have severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued for parts of Ellis and Navarro counties for this particular storm. Strong winds are going to be the primary concern with that storm there. So we'll take a quick look at that. Yeah, we can see kind of some stronger winds, a little bit of a gust front forming there. That's going to continue to move to the east. So that will be where you have stronger winds, 60 mile per hour winds. Nothing extravagant there at this point, but we'll watch that. I mean, we've seen what strong winds can do with a little bit of small hail. So the good news is that at this point, we're looking at this area just south of Blooming Grove, where there's a little bit of something going on. But for the most part, we are looking at, we're not looking at much rotation in this particular area. So that's the good news. Lots of people in the comments saying they got their weather call. So thank you so much for your positive reinforcement there. So yeah, I mean, if you're signed up for weather call, then you would have just gotten a call that there is a severe thunderstorm warning in this area. It would have been my voice letting you know. If you're in that box, if you're not in the box, you won't get a warning. If you didn't get a warning, then hey, you're not included. But if you know you're in that area and you didn't get a call and you signed up for one, let me know. We'll try to figure that out after today's event. But for the most part, sounds like a lot of you did get that call, so I appreciate the positive reports there. We'll go back to the reflectivity and kind of look at this. So this is where you're getting those stronger winds. So that's going to be moving towards the Ennis area, towards Bardwell, towards Blooming Grove. Robin, the tornado warning for Hill County was earlier today, so that's since been canceled. You got to be careful with that because sometimes those Facebook posts will come up, and if you're not looking at the timestamp, you're not looking at. It may look like it's current information, but that's not at that point. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. So here's really two storms at this point that are the stronger storms. This one, we just had a severe thunderstorm warning that was issued, and that is moving eastward across southern Ellis County, northern Navarro County, and then back in Hill County, another stronger storm. Not seeing rotation with either of these really at this point, but we will keep an eye on all of this as we go forward. Again, I know that some folks are looking at the schools right now, wondering, hey, what's going on? What's going to happen there? So, if anything, if it's not safe to allow your kiddos to be released, then they are going to hold those kids, and then they will dismiss them at a later point. We just had a flash flood warning, including parts of Hill and Ellis counties here. That flash flood warning until 5 p.m. Now again, that doesn't mean it's going to rain until 5 p.m. That means it may take until 5 p.m. for runoff and floodwaters to settle. So just keep that in mind, that those flash flood warnings and flood watches and those kind of things, those will tend to outlast the storm because it's accounting for runoff, groundwater, those kind of things that may affect that. Joshua Cox, once we get through these storms, we are done for the day. Amber, no tornado warnings in Ennis right now. Trust me, if there was a tornado warning in Ennis, we would let you know. For now, just a severe thunderstorm warning. And LaDonna Gutierrez signed up with Weather Call and set the old time tornado siren as your ringtone. Well, that's one way to do it. It gets your attention. Thank you, Kevin, for what you do. I appreciate that. Let's see. Yeah, no current tornado warnings at this point. Strongest storms right now are the one in Ellis County. There's a flash flood warning for that storm, as well as a severe thunderstorm warning, mostly for the stronger winds there. And then in Hill County, let me see here. Let's look at the velocity here. You can definitely see the stronger winds moving east across southern Ellis, northern Navarro counties, and then farther back in Hill County, not seeing anything remarkable here as far as winds, but very heavy rain there. So that has prompted the flash flood warning for that area. And more reports of a tornado warning for Hill County. Folks, you gotta, number one, other people posting those have to be better about posting a time with those things. But there's There's no tornado warning in Hill County right now. That's been canceled. Thank you so much, Melody, for your PayPal donation. Greatly appreciated there. But no tornado warnings in Hill County right now. That was earlier this afternoon. So that has since been canceled. Just following the chat here. Yeah, okay. So yeah, lots of people signing up for Weather Call. I love it. I love it because that tells me that you are prepared for the next time severe weather gets here. I mean, we haven't even, we're just ending April. We haven't even started May yet. And May sometimes brings the nastiest storms. So we definitely need to keep folks informed about what we're looking at. Yeah, so just an overview of kind of what the warnings are right now. I know there's a lot on this map. There's definitely, a lot happening. We have a severe thunderstorm warning, including parts of Ellis and Navarro counties. That runs, well, I almost had it. That runs until 2:30. So until 2:30 p.m., that's severe thunderstorm warning. And then we've got flash flood warnings going on for parts of Hill, Ellis, and Johnson counties right now. So just, all across our area, flash flooding is a concern. So that's where we're looking at some of the flash flood concerns. Again, northern half of Hillsborough, Johnson County, and Ellis County. Hearing that Abilene is on lockdown in the Dome. The good news is that we're not really looking at any kind of rotation in that area right now. Severe thunderstorm warning, yes. But for the most part, this severe thunderstorm warning, you can see that in the yellow there, is for these winds that could be right in the ballpark of 60 miles per hour. 58 plus is your severe thunderstorm warning threshold, so we're right around 60. So it's a low end concern for those severe storms. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for your Venmo donation. Greatly appreciated there. And Stephanie Bourne said you're asking where this is. This is north central Texas, not covering Missouri right now. So yeah, so you're going to have stronger winds in the Ennis area right now, along with that heavy rain. But that's what that severe thunderstorm warning was issued for. Is those winds again right around 60 miles per hour. And we'll put this into motion for you. Another severe thunderstorm warning. It's kind of hidden behind the graphic there, but just west of Hamilton for another severe storm there. Again, those areas to the south are prime areas for severe storms. So those will have to be watched. But for right now, the only severe storm in our particular area is this from southern Ellis County and northern Navarro County. So that's what we're looking at in terms of our severe storms right now. Obviously, you can see all the green there, all those flash flood warnings and that kind of thing. Just trying to follow the comments here. So, Joshua, north central Texas under a warning. See, it's under a watch. The tornado watch includes Ellis, Hill, and Navarro counties in our particular area. So that's the extent of that. Getting some driving reports here, and I mean, if you're out driving, again, you have to be very, very careful where some of these flooding situations are unfolding there. Looks like they've updated that severe thunderstorm warning to now kind of clear anything on the west side of I-35E. So just a quick update there. Let's see. Daughter lives in Hillsborough. Tornado touchdown in Woodbury. We'll have to get confirmation from the National Weather Service on that, on whether a tornado did occur there. If there's damage that can be reported, definitely report that to the National Weather Service in the state of Texas, and they can go and survey that and kind of do a forensic look at that. Um, Tegan, you're asking, is it supposed to get bad in Waxahachie? I mean, this is the extent of what I expect in Waxahachie. Heavy rain, we're up to just over an inch and a, well, let's see, yeah, just over an inch and a quarter of rain here in Waxahachie. So that's what we're seeing there. But we're not looking at any kind of tornado, at least imminent tornado threat at this point. So that's kind of the positive news there. We will go take another look at velocity here because I want to see, again, we have these strong winds here, and that's where we're watching, and I want to see what the update shows here. All right, so part of the concern with the flash flooding here too, and I'll show you this in a moment, because I see someone saying, "Hey, there's another storm coming through Italy." So, yeah, I mean, where we have the rain coming back through, that's your justification for that severe thunderstorm, or that flash flood warning rather. So, you know, that will be unfortunately a recurring problem there. And let's see. Thank you, Wanda, for your Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated there. So again, this is where we're watching, and I'm waiting for an update to the velocity radar here. Plenty of water going down the street here, so definitely, definitely some flooding concerns here in my part of Ellis County here. And getting reports of hail in Ennis. Ennis is going to be getting some strong winds there as well, so that just keep that in mind for sure. Again, this was issued for 60 mile per hour winds. Now the National Weather Service has updated that to 65 mile per hour winds and 1 inch hail. So we are seeing this storm intensify from Ennis down to Blooming Grove. So just keep that in mind. Looks like Ennis, you're getting the strongest winds right now. That's going to continue on to the east. So areas in Rice and Alma, over to Corsicana, and everywhere in between, we'll be looking at those winds spreading eastward. Here we go. There's an update. So again, you can see those winds now moving across I-45, moving into Rice and Alma. Could be moving into Corsicana. It looks like most of that will go north of the Corsicana area here, and then continuing on as we go through the rest of the afternoon on east of there. And there is another storm back to the west, but I'm not seeing anything that has my immediate attention here as far as you know, any kind of rotation or anything of that sort. So yeah, I mean, back in Hill County here, we have a lot of heavy rain. I'm not seeing any kind of rotation there. Not a severe thunderstorm warning at this point, but plenty of heavy rain for sure. We'll put this back into motion for you. So here's our severe warned storm. At this point, that continues on to the east. The main concern with this one is 60, 65 mile per hour winds, and then a storm back in the Hillsborough area. Primary concern with that is flooding at this point. Not hearing any kind of reports of hail or not seeing any kind of big winds there, but plenty of heavy rain where you've already received a lot of heavy rain today. So that's going to introduce that flooding concern. April Birdwell, the only tornado warning we had was earlier in northern Hill County. That has since been canceled. And Megan, yes, once all of this clears out, we are done for the night with the rain. So as the day goes on and as we continue to kind of, no pun intended, flood the zone with these storms, we're going to eventually clear all of this out. So, or at least clear out the severe weather threat, because it's going to be rain-cooled air that's just going to keep getting recycled here. Okay, Lindsay, you're asking what causes that cold air to slow down getting to those southern Hill Navarro counties as quickly as we did in northern. Okay, so you're asking what slowed down the cool air. Well, eventually that outflow detached from the storm and didn't necessarily have the storm winds propelling it. So once that happened, it moved out by itself. And I mean, there's opposing flow. I mean, there's southerly winds. So eventually the southerly winds are going to kind of make that, I mean, that energy doesn't stay constant. It's going to make that outflow boundary kind of run out of gas because the force from the southerly winds is eventually going to overtake it. So that's what made it slow down over time and kind of fall apart. Okay, so yeah, backups on 287 between Midlothian and Mansfield. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so we're still going to have showers and thunderstorms across our area for at least the next. I mean, we're getting to right at about 2 o'clock now, so at least another 2 or 3 hours of rain here, and I think that will, over the course of the next hour, we'll see that kind of deteriorating here. I think Trina, I mean, you're right, you can still see the yellow box here. So that is that severe thunderstorm warning. Does include parts of Waxahachie. So that is still active. And not sure about any alarms going off anywhere. So just kind of keep in mind here. And Ryan saying it's 74 degrees in Malakoff. So yeah, where you haven't had the rain cooled air, you're still in the mid 70s. It's 60 degrees right now here at the studio where we do have rain cooled air. So the severe weather concerns here are not that great. Let me just check on something here. I'm hearing a report that Kemp ISD is releasing at 2 p.m. So I'm not sure what's motivating that at this point. I mean, around that time, it's 2 p.m. now, so I mean, they're going to be releasing right into heavy storms. So I'm not sure what would be motivating that. I haven't seen confirmation of that. That's just come up in the chat, so I'm not too sure what the case is. So Kemp is releasing at 2 p.m. right in the middle of these storms. So I'm not too sure what the concern is there. I guess maybe trying to avoid some flooding on bus routes. Not sure there what is going on. No, so still hearing chatter about sirens going off. I mean, and Vicky, there's no tornado warning right now for Carl's Corner and Files Valley. No tornado warnings right now. So if you heard there was a new warning, that is not true. There's no warnings in that area right now. So hearing reports of sirens off and on, it's hard to say. I've quickly found out that sirens are a crazy matter of rumor there, and that kind of thing. So not sure what all's going there, and if you did hear sirens, could have been for, I guess, some heavy storm concerns, but it doesn't sound. Usually, the criteria that these municipalities follow hasn't really been in place for those particular areas. So not really sure what is being referred to there. But for this area here, I mean, Johnson County starting to dry out a little bit, giving you a little bit of grace here. The heaviest storm still moving through parts of eastern Ellis County, northern Navarro County. Still some heavy rain in Hill County here. So this is really transitioning into more of a flooding risk at this point. There is still the severe thunderstorm west of Hamilton. We will kind of keep an eye on that. But for the most part here, I mean, we're just looking at a heavy rain situation. Heavy rain is becoming more isolated near the Cleburne area. Plenty of heavy rain still to go in parts of Ellis County, but I think we may just get to a point where the larger cells kind of move out. We may get to a point where it's just more kind of scattered showers and thunderstorms, but the more rain we have and the more coverage we have, the more rain cooled air we'll have, the more of a stable atmosphere, and that will certainly limit the tornado risk, eventually limit that severe thunderstorm risk. So that is just something to keep in mind. Again, they're updating this severe thunderstorm warning, kind of inching that farther east as that storm moves through. And we'll check the velocity, kind of check on those winds. And still some gustier winds from near Corsicana up through, really up towards the Ferris and maybe Bristol area there, continuing to move to the east. Again, I don't see anything too major at this point. I saw someone ask about near Hillsboro. I don't see any kind of rotation or anything there. I think there might be something that looks like a hookish shape, but we don't have any kind of rotation to back that up at this point. So here in Navarro County, again, some gustier winds there. There are a couple of little notches here, and we'll have to watch those. Anytime you have those gustier winds, those gust fronts, sometimes you can have where those will produce little notches here, and sometimes that can be a quick spin up or something. But at this moment, I don't see anything that has me immediately concerned. But this is also a little farther away from the radar, so it could be hard to see. Okay, yeah, so we did get that confirmation from Kemp ISD of an earlier dismissal. That's the only school district that I've heard of that's releasing early. I mean, at this point, we're looking at, let's see, Cynthia, thank you so much for your Venmo donation. But I mean, at this point, I can only imagine that the only justification for getting students out early is concerns of flooding along bus routes. That's really the only thing I can think of. That's not confirmed, but that's the only thing that I can think of. Let's see. And so En route Academy of the Arts asking if we can tell how fast the storm is moving and around what time should clear out of Waxahachie. Here's the thing, it's not necessarily just that storm. There's going to be more of them. Obviously, I mean, as you can tell, all across the area, there's widespread showers and thunderstorms. At this point, I mean, there's going to be more than one report of, or there's going to be more than one storm going through the Waxahachie area. But I'm thinking this should all be clearing out by somewhere between 6 and 8 o'clock. It may clear out earlier than that, but that's just my guess, is 6 to 8 o'clock, I think, is when we're going to be drying out in at least Waxahachie. And let's see. So Natalie, you said it looks like a funnel cloud in Corsicana right now. I mean, if you want to send us a picture of that, then we'd love to take a look at that and just kind of make a judgment call. But I haven't really seen anything rotating in that area at this moment. We can double check that for sure. So I'm not really seeing anything in Corsicana that immediately has me concerned about rotation. So, but again, Natalie, if you want to send us a picture of whatever you're seeing, we'll be happy to check that out. So, let's see. Alexa asking, will the rain continue this heavy until tonight? Yeah, so I'm thinking, again, 6 to 8 o'clock, I think, is when we clear this out. It could be earlier than that, just depending on when dry air kind of invades and pushes all of this stuff out of here. But for the most part, I think that, rain could kind of linger around. And it may transition to just kind of off and on rain at some point. But we will see what this does. Talking about Indiana, we're in north central Texas. I don't know what's going on in Indiana right now. So just sharing that. But I don't know. I don't cover that area, so I'm not honestly sure what's referring to. And I don't know why. This is my easy distraction talking, but why is my hair like thicker right there? That's bothering me. It's bothering me like crazy. It's not supposed to look like that. Why does it look like that? I can play with it. Look. So, Sammy Rose, you're asking, will we get a storm, breaking the storm around 3:30, around 3:45? I imagine you're asking about school dismissal here. I mean, we're looking at what, about 2 o'clock now. As far as the 3:30 to 4 p.m. range, we may be done with the more widespread activity at that point. But I do think we'll still have some scattered showers across our area at that point. So I can't confidently say that we're going to be done with it by that point. And I know you're asking about Brittany. I know you're asking about North Grove. It's just heavy rain at this point. Heavy rain, lightning, thunder. Nothing severe in this area right now. Plenty of rain. So there is at least a part of that area that could be looking at some flooding. I mean, that's North Grove, Waxahachie. That's essentially my area. So, you know, I can tell you just by sight here that just, you know, some heavy rain and that kind of thing in that part of Waxahachie. Let me see here. And Ronnie, I haven't seen any rotation out there. We checked a few minutes ago, and I haven't seen any rotation that has really caught my eye. Joshua John, you said, when's the last time North Central Texas had it? And it's not showing me what that is, but I assume that's a tornado because we're 30 days left before 2025 begins. I'm assuming you're talking about summer 2025. You know, meteorological summer starts June 1st. I assume that's what you're talking about. I'm going to run with that. You know, the last time we had a confirmed tornado in North Central Texas, I mean, it's not necessarily within the 4-county area, but we did have one in Hood County that was confirmed recently. So the last, you know, couple of weeks ago or so. Joshua John, hurricane. I mean, we don't really tend to get hurricanes up here. I mean, I guess if it was a strong enough hurricane, it could maintain hurricane strength. But normally, by the time they get here, it's a tropical storm or a tropical depression or something. So we don't really get hurricanes here. We're a little inland. So, okay, so small hail reported near Heritage. Not sure where in Heritage you're talking about. So, Austin on YouTube, out of pure academic curiosity, what exactly are you looking for when you're looking at radar for the velocity radar for rotation? So that's where and we can go back to that here. So you have red and green. So red is, and I'll use kind of this area in Corsicana as an example, where you have red and green. So I'm not necessarily looking at this as rotation at this point, but where you have, you know, green is moving towards the radar, red is moving away. So when you have the red and green start to kind of mix with each other, that's where you can see there's opposing wind speeds that are right next to each other, and that could be an indication of rotation. At this point, I mean, this is kind of an example of where you see that. It's real easy to go, oh, there it is. It takes a little more than that, right? You kind of get to know what you're looking for when you do this long enough. But at this point, I'm not looking at that as an immediate tornado threat or an area of rotation. There's a little bit of a curvature there. There might be some broad rotation there. But for the most part, yeah, I don't really think that we're really looking at concerning rotation at that point. Joshua Don saying, I had to ask when's the last time North Central Texas had a hurricane. Weather Geek studied meteorology at USC. So, I mean, if you studied meteorology at USC, I mean, I would imagine, you know, it's hard to imagine a hurricane in North Central Texas because we're so inland. Down on the coast, that's one thing, but inland, not really so much. Let's see. Okay, reports of a funnel cloud, pictures of that in Corsicana. Let's see, we got something there. Doesn't look like I've received anything. Matt, I don't know if you're seeing anything, but I haven't received. So I'm hearing there's a storm chaser in that area too that's not seeing anything. We'll keep an eye on that. I imagine you're talking about this area here, but I've got a couple of people saying that they're watching a funnel cloud in in the Corsicana area, but I'm not getting any pictures of that, so it's hard for me to see. Looks like that storm chaser's at the laundromat. That doesn't help me much. Getting his clothes washed? What's going on? Here we go. Okay. So, Hannah, looks like you're trying to send pictures, but they're not loading. I'm not seeing. I'll leave that up for a second, but I'm not seeing that loading there. Katie Best, there are gray dots on the Weather Channel app in your area. Any idea what that means? I don't use the I don't use the Weather Channel app, so I'm not really sure. Couldn't honestly tell you because I mean I'm not there. We'll continue to watch this in the Corsicana area because I mean we are seeing the reds and greens. I mean we are seeing. I mean, near Oak Valley there, it's tough, especially this far out. It can be tough to really see anything. But what I am seeing, I'm not confident in any kind of rotation, especially with that update. I'm just not. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here that has me convinced of rotation. So Hannah, I know you tried to send some pictures from Corsicana. Those are not translating through. Not sure why that might be, but I'm not seeing anything rotation wise on the map that has me convinced there. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we've got the gustier winds from Kaufman County over to Henderson County. I mean, those gusty winds, that's what prompted that severe thunderstorm warning. But yeah, I'm not seeing anything that is rotating at this point. So I think we're good to go. So we have plenty of heavy rain. Let's get back to just kind of the regular view here. Plenty of heavy rain all across our area here. I mean, it's clear as day to see, and I think we may be getting ready to start getting more kind of scattered activity. And usually that would be when I'd be more concerned about, some severe weather and that kind of thing. But the atmosphere has been fairly worked over at this point by this activity that, we have cooler temperatures out there right now. I just want to check two things really quickly. So temperatures here, it's really hard to read, but yeah, I mean, we've still got temperatures in the upper 70s down in McLennan County. So it's 77 right now in Lacey Lakeview and 60 degrees in Hillsborough, but it's still 80 degrees in southern Corsicana. So big differences in temperature there, and that can be sometimes what makes the difference in terms of whether you see just some rain or, more severe weather. So it will be worth watching. I want to check velocity here very quickly, right near Penelope. We've got a little area that's worth watching here. And we've seen a little bit of a hook kind of forming there. And right there, I'm starting to see some suspicious activity there. And I'm not seeing anything that has me immediately, calling for rescue. But I do see, let's see, okay. Just checking through my phone notifications there. But near Penelope, we're going to keep an eye on that because that does look like we could be looking at just a small area of rotation there. See if we can get kind of a trend on that. Yeah, that's kind of quick. So not sure. Okay, that's what we're looking at. So you can see near Leroy there, and then you can kind of see a shadow there, and then you can see it. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on this near Penelope here. We could be looking at some rotation, trying to develop in that area. Again, this stuff can wrap up very quickly. So that's Southern Hill County here. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. And just to kind of show you a reference here, this is what I'm looking at. This area right here, that's a pretty characteristic hook. That's a pretty clear indication there that we've got some rotation in that area. So west of Hubbard, near Penelope. That's where we could be looking at some rotation trying to come together there. Hello, Thunder, don't interrupt me. I'm speaking. So yeah, near Penelope here, that's where we want to watch. We could have some rotation trying to kind of develop there. Again, this is Southern Hill County. Here's Western Navarro County. So let's kind of watch this here. This could be moving towards Penelope, towards Malone, possibly towards, again, parts of very far west Navarro County. So let's see if we get an update here. Should have an update any moment. Okay, here we go. So not as defined, but still some increased wind speeds there near Hubbard. And that's where we are looking at this area here. So we'll keep an eye on that. It looks like maybe it was just a quick area of rotation, but hasn't really continued there. Leanne Hickman, I know you asked that question before. I thought I addressed that, but is it going to be more storms around 3:30 to 5 around Hillsborough? Could very well be. I mean, it may be 6, 7 o'clock before we actually clear all of this out. So just kind of keep that in mind, and be prepared for the possibility that we could have more showers and storms by that point. But this is Southern Hill County. Looked like we could have been dealing with some rotation there. At this point, though, looks like that might be more disorganized at this point. I think that maybe that's going to alleviate itself. We'll keep an eye on that, though, just kind of in the corner of our eye. But just to get a broad view again, here's where we're looking at. The vast majority of our area just dealing with some very heavy rain at this point. We've had plenty of heavy rain moving through. We have the flash flood warnings, including Somerville, Hood, Johnson, Hill, parts of Hill at least, and Ellis County there. Severe thunderstorm warning still in place for southern Ellis, really mostly eastern Ellis, and then northern Navarro County there. I had to get a quick drink of water there. Realized that I hadn't done that in a while. Yeah, so I know there's a storm chaser back in, I guess in Corsicana now, but not much there for them to see. And we were looking at an area possibly of rotation near the Hubbard-Malone area, but I don't think that is really going to amount to much. We'll take a quicker look at that. We don't have an updated image, but again, like I say, I'm not seeing anything that has my attention too much there. Nothing really looks organized at this point, so I'm not too worried there. So for the moment, the primary concern now, that severe thunderstorm warning has been expired at this point. So, I mean, at this time, the severe thunderstorm warning canceled for Comanche there as well. So that storm that we were watching near Hamilton, that warning has been canceled as well. So at this point, we're done with the severe thunderstorm warnings as far as our area. More far off to the east. But really the main concern right now, frequent lightning is a deal out there, some gusty winds still, and plenty of heavy rain going on right now across our area. The primary threat right now is going to be that flooding. Obviously the rain is kind of starting to become a little more scattered as you go farther west, on the west side of I-35W out there. On the eastern half of the area, Ellis and Navarro counties, plenty of widespread heavy rain here. That will continue as we go through the next several hours here. Stephanie Sinclair, my mother-in-law there, she's in Canton, and it rained so hard you couldn't see the road. I definitely believe that. Joshua John talking about tornado warnings in other parts of the area. Looks like Oklahoma and Arkansas, so that's outside of where we're working here. Um, yeah, so Ashley Rogers saying, everyone be careful picking up the kids from school. If you see me driving slow, go around me. Hate driving in this mess. So yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I don't think anybody really enjoys driving in rain, especially this kind of heavy rain. We're getting close to 1.5 inches now here at the studio. But that you're definitely, unfortunately, at this point, I think. I mean, we're getting closer to 2:30 here. Kids are going to start getting out of school, and I think that we may very well be looking at a situation where we just kind of have to put up with the kiddos getting a little wet out there. But the good news is that we are not necessarily, NSISD. So we are closely monitoring the weather for any potential impacts during this afternoon's dismissal. We will provide any updates if necessary. Please watch the weather and stay safe. So, with all of that said, they have not said anything new here. Okay. Yeah, so they aren't saying anything new at this point. The only school that we know of that has changed anything was the 2 p.m. dismissal in Kemp. And I think that was probably trying to avoid the potential for flooding roadways, impeding bus routes, that kind of thing. But I think for the most part, it's just going to be a matter of keeping the kiddos dry as much as possible. But if there are any changes, I doubt we'll see any more schools release early. If anything, they may hold those kids if for whatever reason they think it's unsafe to dismiss them. So farther to the west, you can see that there's drier air and more kind of scattered activity. You can see that storm near Comanche weakening there. So once we get through this activity, I think we'll gradually, I don't think this is going to be, we just see this line of dry air, just blow this stuff out and we're done. I think we may have a gradual drawdown here, tapering off of the heavier rain across our area. And I think eventually we will start to see, this, taper off from west to east. And I think by 7, 8 o'clock tonight, we're probably completely cleared out. So I'm going to wrap up live coverage for the moment. This is going to give me a chance to kind of take a breather, kind of take a closer look at some things, and just post regular updates, on the page. But stay tuned to South Metro Weather. We will continue to bring live coverage to you if there is another severe weather threat across our area. At this point, doesn't look like it, but we'll continue to monitor this as we go through the rest of the afternoon.